Alright, y'all. I'm here. I don't even know if I'm doing this right. Hopefully I'm set up right, but it is going down right now, y'all. It's going down. These people is going crazy. I don't even know where to start, bruh. These people are tripping.
Attempting to scale down the balcony.
I can't believe these niggas did it. They broke it up, but they tripping. But what's crazy is I'm surprised Team Blue's not there. Like, Team Blue should be there. This vote matters for everybody. Why is Team Blue not here?
Making memes up of it.
Oh my God. He said they're probably making memes. Bruh.
On the balcony, attempting to get into the Capitol.
I don't even know. I don't. Hold on. I got it.
The mainstream media lying? Huh? Are you lying?
Are you lying?
How you doing?
Hey, every time someone walks by,
Sorry, there's going to be
every time someone walks by them, they're like, "Are you lying? Are you telling lies on the news? Are you lying?"
on the north side
Bruh,
of the Capitol here.
this is getting crazy.
Christianity.
This is getting crazy, bruh.
Don't lie!
She is not playing, bro. Somebody tag her.
Don't lie! Stop the lying, mainstream media! Stop it!
Bruh.
Whatever you want! Stop lying!
Bro, y'all hear her? Are you the news? They about to whoop their ass, bruh. They're gonna whoop their ass. They gonna whoop their ass, bruh. I don't know, bruh. These white people tripping. Bruh. Oh my God.
Again, we are on the
I'm sorry, bro. It's just a whole lot of oh my God. So basically, hold on. Let me turn these down. Let me turn these down. Basically, bro, this is the last chance, the last hope for Trump to win. And basically, all the states could potentially object. And if there's no president elected today, then basically the House gets to vote for who the president is. And the House is majority. There's gas mask. The House is majority Republican.
Again, this is the north side of the building.
It's going down.
Not sure what agency they are with. Officers have
They said that they can't even tell who is protesting and not because some of these niggas showed up looking like the police.
10 minutes or so.
That's fucking crazy, bro. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Hey, good picture right here, huh?
My bad, y'all. Crazy. Them boys ain't out there playing. Them boys is not out there playing. I've never seen white people get down like this. No cap. Let's see, bro. These guys is going up. Whoop. Let's see what these guys talking about, bro. Because these niggas got a different angle. I'm gonna pause them. Let's see what they doing. We're gonna see, bro. It's getting real, bro. And I'm checking all the news outlets. Oh, they got a different angle. What they talking about? Where y'all at? I can't even hear. I must got too much going on. Hold on. Let me whoa. We going back. What they doing? I need a better angle. I want to see what's happening.
You can see lots of law enforcement in existence and making their way.
Look at this guy. They're like, oh shit, we gotta get the fuck out of here. They started tripping. Damn, they deep though. They know that it's deep though. Oh, it's looking like it's starting to subside. Unless they got something good. Shit, they had a nice thumbnail.
Members who were up there in
shit.
the gallery, that's the
Oh,
level that's
shit.
above the House floor, as they were all being evacuated. So many of those members were taken together in a group to a different location in the Capitol complex. We happen to know where this one is, but we're not reporting it because obviously there are many security concerns about that. The Senate, meanwhile, had a similar situation. There were members on the floor who were evacuated together. So those members are also telling it to them. I know they're in the same place. We don't know where they are, but we do know that they are safe and that a number of them are together.
Did you see that?
Of course, if you were a member who was not on the floor and not part of that escort from
flipping them
Capitol
off.
Police, you
This
may
is
be
hella
at any
funny,
other
bro.
place, your office building,
my God,
your
what
own
Biden got
personal
to say?
office. So that's kind of how these things are set up here.
I want to know
Casey,
what.
you gotta
I
jump.
wanna
Let's
know
listen to the president-elect Joe
what
Biden.
Biden's
Today
got to
coming
say.
out to speak to you. I initially
got
was going to
COVID.
talk about the economy,
Biden sound like he got
but
COVID.
all of you have been watching what I've been watching. At this hour, our democracy is under an unprecedented assault,
Bro,
unlike anything we've seen in modern times. An assault on the citadel of liberty, the Capitol itself.
yeah.
An
Yeah.
assault on the people's representatives and the Capitol Hill Police, sworn to protect them, and the public servants who work at the heart of our republic. Law like few times we've ever seen it. An assault on the most sacred of American undertakings, the doing of the people's business.
He had to make this on the fly, literally.
Let me be very clear. The scenes of chaos at the Capitol do not reflect a true America, do not represent who we are. What we're seeing are a small number of extremists dedicated to lawlessness. This is not dissent. It's disorder. It's chaos. It borders on sedition. And it must end.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to
now.
post something. But nobody
I
is
call
scared of
this
you.
mob to pull back and allow the work of democracy to go forward. You've heard me say before in different contexts, the words of a president matter, no matter how good or bad that president is. At their best, the words of a president can inspire. At their worst, they can incite. And therefore, I call on President Trump to go on national television now to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demand an end to this siege.
Brennan,
the
like
Capitol.
slide.
To smash windows, to occupy offices, the floor of the United States Senate, rummaging through desks, on the Capitol, on the House of Representatives, threatening the safety of duly elected officials. It's not protest, it's insurrection. The world's watching. Like so many other Americans, I am genuinely shocked and saddened that our
I'm not even
nation,
gonna lie, bro. This shit is not
so
a joke. I can't even hear
long
myself.
the beacon
this
of
ain't
light
a joke,
and hope
and I don't
for
want y'all to
democracy
think I'm taking this as a joke.
has
It's
come to
definitely not
such a
joke.
dark moment.
But this is crazy, bro.
Through war and strife, America's endured much. And we will endure here, and we will prevail again, and will prevail now. The work of the moment and the work of the next 4 years must be the restoration of democracy, of decency,
Damn.
honor,
I can't believe they
respect,
breached it.
the rule of law.
I wonder what happened
Just
to the
plain,
niggas that
simple
breached it. That's
decency.
on tape. My ones
The
that's on
renewal
tape
of the
in
politics.
Pelosi's office.
It's about solving problems, looking out for one another, not stoking the flames of hate and chaos.
Yeah.
As I said, America's about honor, decency, respect, tolerance. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. The certification of the Electoral College vote
The what?
is supposed to be a sacred ritual to affirm, the purpose is to affirm the majesty of American democracy. But today's
Shout out Diamond
reminder,
Glass.
a painful one,
It's disgusting.
that democracy is fragile, and to preserve it requires people of goodwill, leaders
Now y'all can see
with the
me,
courage
my
to
bad.
stand up, who are devoted not to the pursuit of power, or the personal interest pursuits of their own selfish interest
What?
at any cost, but of the common good.
I'm sorry, this nigga can't get through
Think
one
what our
speech.
children watching television is thinking. Think what the rest of the world is looking at. For nearly 2.5 centuries, we, the people, in search of a more perfect union, have kept our eyes on that common good. America is so much better than what we've seen today. Watching the scenes from the Capitol, I was reminded, as I prepared other speeches in the past, I was reminded of the words of Abraham Lincoln in his annual message to Congress, whose work has today been interrupted by chaos. Here's what Lincoln said. He said, "We shall nobly save or merely lose the last best hope on earth." Went on to say,
Well, I will say this. Since they couldn't do it, technically this nigga's not the president. And he's still not the president. And this is the final, like, final vote. And it didn't happen. So what the fuck is next?
he's
Because
plain.
the next thing was that he was supposed to be the president. Like, we're supposed to prepare for the inauguration. That's supposed to be like next week. But it's not happening. So what the fuck is next?
And commitment as patriots to this nation. Notwithstanding what I saw today,
Like, I know if
optimistic.
if this vote didn't go right, like if states got rejected of their votes and none of them got 270, because Trump didn't get 270, so if they took away the votes and got less than 270, then it comes down to the House to vote for who the president is. But since that didn't happen, they just stopped this as a whole. Are they just going to reschedule?
This is the United States of America. There's never, ever, 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 ever been a thing we've tried to do that we've done it together. We've not been able to do it. So, President Trump, step up. May God bless America. And may God protect our troops and all those folks at the Capitol who are trying to preserve order. Thank you, and I'm sorry to have kept you waiting.
We've seen today President-elect Joe Biden calling on President Trump to step up, calling what's happening at the Capitol right now a democracy under assault, and calling on the president to go on national TV to call for an end of the violence we've seen in and outside the U.S. Capitol tonight. An extraordinary moment. Joe Biden actually making a few comments.
Okay.
As he departs the stage,
What the
enough
fuck is
enough
next?
is enough. Joe Biden, who has at times during this period leading up to his inauguration played the de facto healer in chief, once again taking that role under circumstances that probably even.
I'm going to pause this thing. Let's go back to this.
They have attempted to get into the building for quite some time.
Shout out Tizo touchdown.
Gave law enforcement clash with law enforcement. And
What are they slapping? It sounds like some damn Kevin Gates. Bro, this is crazy, bro. They're rappelling up the thing. They just want to do some shit. They just out there having fun. But this is the craziest shit, bro. There's stairs. Let's see if they help the Mexican dude. Oh, yeah. Bro, this is crazy. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. I should be saying something. I'm sorry. Y'all not watching me. Y'all are watching me, damn it. So this is why y'all... You said... What are they slapping? It's like all these Trump.
The doors are open.
It's a trip house, nigga. Niggas got their protest music going on, bro.
But the doors to the Capitol are open, which supporters tried
It's
for
crazy, bro.
a while to do, and they had clashes with officers.
This is crazy.
Now these doors have just remained open since the last clash.
Control of the U.S. Senate. It'll be a 50-50 split. Vice President Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, as Vice President, will have the tie-breaking vote. So that just breaking here a few moments ago before we went to Joe Biden. Let's go back to Hallie Jackson right now, who can give us some more insight as to what is happening there in Washington as the light begins to dim.
What's that?
As it begins to get dark here, Lester, I can tell you that it appears we are going to be hearing from President Trump at some point in the coming hours. I'm told just moments ago by a senior administration official that the president will have a taped message coming shortly. Presumably, of course, one would imagine, to address the chaotic, difficult, mob-like scene that we have seen at the Capitol, outside and inside, as we're playing now some of that video from earlier of the protesters storming the steps. We still do not know. I have no clarity on remarks, for example, the content of those, what specifically the president might say. But you have to remember, he has had people close to him, people who are his Republican allies, publicly now call on him to do something, not just Joe Biden, right? Not just what we heard from the president-elect, who is ending his.
And I think that was a very, very
this
presidential
is crazy,
speech,
bro.
certainly more presidential than any kind of tweet we've seen from the current president today.
I mean, it is stunning, James, that we're hearing from the president-elect before the president of the United States speaks out on what's happening right now. And, Joe Biden didn't run to a podium the minute the U.S. Capitol was invaded by an angry mob. I mean, it's been a couple of hours now. He gave the president time, and President Trump chose not to speak publicly. And so now we're seeing Joe Biden fill the void that President Trump has left.
And I imagine Trump will lash out and respond. I would be surprised if we didn't hear from the president, although who knows. But that's what presidential leadership looks like. That's what any normal president historically would have done. And I thought it was.
She don't even want to take the picture.
The message that Biden had toward the end, especially when he came back and responded to the shouted questions, where he expressed confidence in his safety. He said the inauguration will go on.
She didn't even want to be in the picture.
That
was funny.
This
nigga.
That was sort of a message of defiance, and it actually
like, let's get closer.
On 9/11, Biden really didn't want to leave.
Do they not even know each other?
And had to be pulled away by Capitol police officers. He wanted to be there. He wanted the Senate to convene, even though there were planes that were targeting
weird.
the
Did y'all
Capitol.
see that?
And it's because he felt that it was important for there to be a show of comment. And it's interesting. I've been texting with various operatives, Republicans and Democrats, Hill staff. And
this is the nicest protest I've ever seen.
Sense that they've got to get the certification.
These people ain't out here protesting.
Remarks and very clearly saying, time to step up, President Trump. It appears we will hear something from the president. Of course, Lester, this could go in various directions, right? Presumably, you have to think that the president will, in fact, call on these now rioters to stop, to abandon this so-called mission, to turn around and to leave, particularly now as we are coming within just an hour and 45 minutes of this curfew happening.
We're trying to be realistic
so that's one piece of it. But Lester, this is also a president who, over the last 2 weeks, it can be said fairly and objectively, has worked to spread misinformation repeatedly about the election's results, repeatedly calling on his own vice president to try to, in my words here, mess with the results of this electoral college vote count. The vice president does not have the authority to do that. The president has repeatedly insisted he has won states, specifically, for example, Georgia, that he did not win in this election. The president has repeatedly insisted that he is, in fact, the person who should legitimately be inaugurated, take office, continue to keep office after January 20th. That is not accurate. That's not true. That's not correct. That's not what's happening. The president may have a platform here with the world watching him to continue to make those false and misleading and inaccurate and troubling claims. We talk about the world watching, Lester. I have to tell you, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, is reacting to this as well, calling what you're seeing on the screen now disgraceful scenes.
Oh, he got that blicky out. They're not playing.
He's continuing that the U.S. stands for democracy around the world. It is now vital that there should be a peaceful and orderly transfer of power. You now have international allies of the president calling on the president to give up the fight, basically, to give up the game, to say that it is over. And Lester, I think that is perhaps the only thing that is going to get these people out of the Capitol. And I have to tell you, I'm not even sure that is 100% going to do it here. Time is of the essence. And so we will, of course, be watching to see when that message, again, as I'm being told by a source familiar with that message, will be taped and will be coming out soon, Lester.
Yeah, you've covered this president for a long time, and he doesn't retreat. He doesn't give ground, and so that makes you wonder: is this a case, Hallie, of be careful what you wish for? Could he perhaps inflame the situation any further? We've all been through those circumstances where he's about to make live statements, and we have to be very careful what we air because of his propensity to tell untruths.
All right, let me keep it real. To be honest with you, he damn near told everyone to come.
As I was watching President-elect Biden's speech, basically,
But yeah, he damn near told everybody to come. So now that they're here,
I do think based on
it's going down.
It is possible that there could have been an entrenchment for the president. He is somebody who can fairly be called a defiant leader, defiant even in the face of what seems to be the logical.
Like, is that protesters or is that
in a political situation, much less a national security situation as we are seeing now? And I have to tell you, the shot that we're looking at that's coming in, stunning. I believe that is the area where the press goes down onto where the Senate chambers are. It looks like a workspace with people. It looks like National Guards officers in there, at least some sort of law enforcement officers with long guns. It is a disturbing sight. But I think you're right, Lester. I think that the president is going to use this platform for something, right? The something is still a question mark.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck
Hallie,
is
thank you.
I just want to know what he's going to say next, bruh. I just want to know what he's going to say next. Like, literally, I can't even, I'm getting sucked in. I look on social media and it's getting crazy. I'm sorry. I'm over here left this muted.
Or any of the other law
Yeah,
to assist them.
This is why niggas is out there protesting and acting like this, because niggas like this on my phone.
Something that is a matter of debate right now. As we speak, members of the Senate and House there in Washington have been told to shelter in place wherever they are, whether it be their offices or in the matter of those who were on the Senate floor or on the House floor when this took place, when those demonstrators breached the Capitol, were taken to a secure location, which we cannot reveal. Some of them are together. And
how do they know the secret location?
We have reporting that those senators, the group of senators who were together, watched the President-elect Joe Biden's speech together. We also have been informed by one of our reporters on the scene, Kelly O'Donnell, that Vice President Pence is still at the Capitol because it is simply not safe for him to return to the White House. Yeah. That is the situation in Washington right now. One woman has been shot. It appears to be a protester. That the shot reportedly was from law enforcement. She has been taken to the hospital. We don't have an update on her condition. And that will bring you up to date. Also, an IED, that's an improvised explosive device, according to NBC News, was recovered on the Capitol grounds. Let me get to Congresswoman Liz Cheney, Republican from Wyoming. Congresswoman, you, of course, were an outspoken opponent of the tax.
Y'all see how she passively tried to slide that in there?
The Electoral College vote should be objected to. So you were one who said it's time now, the election is over, and it's time to perform our constitutional duty. So just so we know where you stand on this. But let's just get to what happened today.
They was finna blow
where
that
were
bitch.
you? What did you see? And how are you?
Fine, Savannah. I'm not going to talk about where we are, but we were on the floor of the House of Representatives performing our constitutional duty to count the electoral votes when we had to be evacuated. And we are in a place with bipartisan group of members.
They tried to blow that bitch up.
My Democratic counterpart, Hakeem Jeffries, and I have both made clear that we do not intend to allow this kind of mob violence to stop us from carrying out our constitutional duty. Our institutions have got to be defended and protected. We have an oath to the Constitution. Sending an angry, violent mob to disrupt proceedings at the Capitol cannot.
Yeah, he did basically.
When you say sending mob, who do you believe is responsible? Who sent the mob?
Look, the President of the United States called his supporters to Washington, D.C., and has dispatched them, without telling them to stop it. Now, I believe he has spoken out in the last few minutes, possibly, but we live in a.
That's hearsay.
It's governed by.
Nah, but he did definitely tell people to pull up. People didn't even know about this.
And it won't stand. Carry out our constitutional obligation.
A lot of people didn't know about this.
And we all need to remember. We all need to come together.
I feel like majority of the Democrats didn't even know about this.
On Americans standing as one, abiding by the Constitution of the United States. We do not bend to mob rule. We don't bend to political threats. There comes a time when our elections are over and we have to carry out our constitutional duty. And that's the moment that we have arrived at now, and we're going to continue to do that.
Congresswoman, I'm sure, like all of us, you're looking at these images. I mean, the one we have on right now, somebody sitting in the chair of where the Senate president presides over the United States Senate, and here's some protester sitting there. Now
let's see what these guys doing. They're just turning up right now. It's like they won. It's a celebration. And going back to. She's just reporting on whatever the fuck she see, because I want to see some more angles, bruh. I want to see them actually go in there. We're gonna look it up. Capitol Hill.
And again, if you guys are just joining us, we are here on the north side.
I probably spelled siege wrong. Fuck it. U.S. Capitol. What the hell? U.S. Alright, let's see what's happening, bro. There's gotta be something. Something good. We're going to see what these three talking about.
Got another shot of some protester.
I think we was watching this one already. Look, here's the thing. I'm just trying to get the best view. So don't mind me. I'm just trying to get the best view. Oh, look, what's this? This is a different view. Alright, it looks like all the action's over. All the action's over.
The U.S. Major, let's return now to the idea about what today was supposed to be. Today was supposed to be, by U.S. code, a day of really very perfunctory kind of ceremonial where the vice president would preside over
a joint session of the House and Senate to open the envelopes certified by each state, signed by the governor of each state, and in this case, a representative from the District of Columbia, providing for Congress and its inspection and its acceptance the electoral votes from those jurisdictions. As you said, pro forma in the past. There has been some objections in the past. I don't want to suggest there haven't ever been objections. What is important about those previous objections, 2001, 2005, 2017, the defeated presidential candidate in those cases did not endorse efforts to contest those and did not seek allies in the House and Senate to bring this to a full
They finally pushing these niggas out.
Crisis, as this president has and as many Republicans have in very large numbers. But the process was to play out. The first state that was contested was Arizona. The debate had just begun shortly after 2 p.m. Eastern.
It's gonna pop off.
In the middle of the speech from Jim Langford, Republican from Oklahoma, in the Senate,
they stealing shit, bro.
who support electoral votes from Arizona, the Senate chamber was evacuated, as was the House, because these protesters stormed the Capitol, breached security barriers, and entered in such a way and with such what appeared to be menacing intent that the Capitol Police felt it was incumbent upon them to rapidly remove the Vice President of the United States, the senators, and eventually members of the House. That's what was supposed to go on. That's what did happen.
Where's the alcohol?
Now in abeyance because of these occupiers of the United States Capitol.
And Ed, you were just noting this window that is being crawled through right now.
Yes, there were protesters there crawling into the Capitol. There we go, right there.
The windows that overlook the west front of the Capitol, high up like that, and have a balcony are usually leadership offices. Am I correct?
If we could, we'd have to have a wider view of this shot to know exactly which window that is.
Breaching all the security.
The fact that they're able to do this at all just shows you the lack of coherent law enforcement response. The fact that there is still
an ability to repel them,
and that there's still a danger to those inside, and that this has not yet been resolved and is nowhere near being resolved.
I have no idea what to say.
This is a wanton act of vandalism, and you can see that they are sort of exulting in this desecration of the Capitol, waving and extolling the crowd to cheer them on. That's the mindset of those who are doing this occupation. And to Ed's point, and possibly to Jeff Pegues's point, they're on scene for the hardheads who really want to find a way to make this a confrontation that appears to be coming, because you cannot resolve this without off the stairs and out of the Capitol. And that is going to have to be done by force, because it doesn't appear they're willing to leave voluntarily.
And that image that we just showed you was from inside Pelosi's office, where people have breached the Speaker of the House's office. And
don't know which office specifically, whether it's hers or one of her aides, because it's a large complex of offices. But regardless, they got into that area, which should be rather secure.
Right, with a note that says, "We will not back down."
That's Pelosi's office.
We are told law enforcement is on the way. Events and directing our coverage today, and protesters still throughout the District of Columbia. We now have a statement from Senator Hawley, who, along with Senator Ted Cruz, had been one of the senators who directed this opposition to the counting of the electoral.
Senator Hawley was the very first to say he would endorse and share an objection with a member of the House to bring this debate to fruition.
Yes, he says, thank you to the brave law enforcement who put their lives on the line. The violence must end, and those who attack police and broke the law must be prosecuted, and Congress must get back to work and finish its job. Questions about whether the Senate will courageously return to Congress right now.
Those numbers look larger to me, Nora and Ed, and they begin to look to me as if there is movement to
push back the crowd.
Shit, I got the video of the girl getting shot.
To push it back and regain some of the territory, if only bit by bit. But those
Somebody just
numbers
sent me the
appear
video of
more
the girl getting
concentrated
shot.
and a bit more forceful than they have.
Those are Washington, D.C. police, not Capitol Police. So the reinforcements of our MPD there, you see, Metropolitan Police Department. Those are the guys that are trained to deal with these large crowds. They train for potential violence across the nation's capital, and they're doing it now here at the Capitol as the unrest continues. We've got banners now hanging off the sides of the Capitol, and these crowds are not going anywhere, at least so far.
Right, and you can see the mask there, and some of this is extravagant, performative revolutionaryism. There is almost a performance art, repellent though it is, quality to this.
Right,
and let's just articulate the natural extension of what they want. They want to disable the United States Congress from meeting and assembling and conducting its business until they get their way. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the clinical dictionary definition of mob rule. And that's what they're seeking, and that's what their actions represent. There is no other way to describe it.
Let's go now to Jeff Pegues, who is outside the Capitol, just the west front of the Capitol. And Jeff, is it fair to say that one of the concerns is that we're close to sundown?
Trying to figure out who my
That's a fair assessment, because what that suggests is, with what the mayor has imposed, this 6 o'clock curfew.
What is this thing talking about?
At some point, they're going to have to clear these people out. And I think, if you look behind you, you can see some people walking from the Capitol building, but there are many, many more people still there. And looking down on them is this line of law enforcement. But here's the thing. With all these people in there, by my estimate, probably about 1,000, couple thousand people perhaps, you really don't have enough law enforcement here to push all these people back and to clear this scene. So I'm still waiting to see if we're going to see more law enforcement showing up here to help calm this situation down, because it's still relatively volatile. You have a crowd here, or people in this group, who are intent on breaching this Capitol building. In fact, I just walked up there a few minutes ago and I heard someone say, "This is civil war." I mean, these are the things that you're hearing in this crowd, and just behind me now,
and Jeff, I missed
smoke. We heard that pop.
And Jeff, I misspoke earlier, but sunset is at 5:01. So wintertime it comes quite early. So we're just half an hour now from sunset.
What happens when it gets dark.
And it's already a very rowdy and mob-like crowd.
See the president
and that's one of the concerns, as Jeff Pegues noted, for that confrontation. Jeff, I've been asking all day for a summary of the number of law enforcement that have been called in to help. Do you know what that is?
Someone just tell me what the president has to say.
We don't have exact numbers, but we know
I'm going live on
about
Instagram
300 members of the National Guard were activated for this day here in D.C.
Hold on. I just know that this shit is getting crazy.
Obviously, you had Metro Police Department officers here as well. You have Capitol PD. So there should be a sizable force of law enforcement. But what we've seen is that today at least, they've been slow to react.
Someone just sent me a video of fucking the girl
going into this day that there would be this march toward the Capitol. Everybody knew that, but for some reason, it just appears that law enforcement today was
and they keep talking about how it's about to get dark soon, and the president still hasn't said
the number of people who descended on Washington for this event.
We don't even know who the fuck the president is now, because
the Save
this
America
vote
event And so what you see behind me is the result of that. You have this. You had this
vote
massive
was the
crowd
vote that was like, okay,
gathering here on the
I'm
Capitol
officially
steps.
the president. Like
Some
this is
people
the I'm
climbing the
you're
walls
officially the
here.
president vote, and this shit is not happening. So because it's not happening,
seem to be
what
caught
the fuck is next?
flat-footed here.
Is he still gonna be the president? The inauguration is next week.
Interesting to see how they get this situation
And
under
honestly,
control.
I'm surprised that more people,
Jeff
more
Begay
Team
is outside
Blue is
the
not out there
Capitol
because
there.
this shit
and
matters,
it's been
nigga.
an extraordinary day,
This
as
shit
we've already
matters,
heard
'cause he can
from
overthrow
the
the whole
President-elect Joe Biden saying
He could overthrow
this
the whole shit.
must end.
So,
he called
I
it an
think it's
assault
fucking
on the
crazy to
citadel
me
of
how
liberty, the representatives,
it's
the public
only Trump
servants,
supporters
an
that are
assault
out
on the
there,
rule
too.
of
Like,
law,
honestly, I
and
feel
an
like Joe
assault
Biden
on
supporters
our
should be
most
out there.
sacred institutions of
Oh, they still
democracy.
counting?
He said
Okay.
these scenes do not represent
That's what I'm
all that
saying.
we are, that they are a small group of extremists.
Bro, who
the Republican
is
leader
this
in the
guy?
House of Representatives on our air, and probably one of the most incredible interviews
not
of our
technically
career,
him
sounding
overthrowing shit,
emotional,
but the
angry,
vote,
saying he
if
specifically had
the whole
called
purpose of
President
this
Trump,
vote is for
told him to
everyone to
address
call
the
out
nation, called the
and-
President's chief
and
of
pretty
staff,
much say
imploring him
that
to address the nation and
this
call for
state's
an
vote-
end to
Now,
the
let me
violence,
time that back.
suggesting that
The whole
those
purpose of this
words
vote,
in that short
people are
video that the
basically
President just
objecting or
released would
approving
essentially
each
cause
state's
these
vote. So if I'm
protesters that
California
have been
and
riled
I
up for
say,
months to
okay,
just
we
go
officially
home.
vote
It's clear they're not
for
listening.
Joe Biden,
It's clear that they
he
are
gets the
bearing
20
down
points for the
at this moment.
electoral.
Bearing
If
down
that's
for a
what I'm saying,
confrontation
New York
with
could be
law
like, no,
enforcement. And yes,
we
Ed,
object.
you have something.
This is
Forgive me,
that.
I just
And
they
then
may
at
not
that
have heard the
moment,
message
they have to debate
because
just
they're
on
out
that
there
one state's vote.
underground to the Capitol,
Just on that
and
one
they may
state's
not be
vote.
looking at their phones. That's why he
if
may have
enough
tweeted this and said it,
swing
but we don't
states
know that it's actually reaching the
essentially
people
get
who need to hear it.
objected,
That was my
and
only
then-
point. Forgive me for.
And I think we would
Yeah,
all agree,
basically,
Nora,
if enough of
listening
those
as
states
we all
get
had a chance to
objected
ask
and
Leader
thrown
McCarthy numerous questions,
then
I
it's up to the House
detected
to vote on who the president is. So that
a
changes the
modicum
whole
of
game.
helplessness in
That's
his
why
voice.
everyone's fucking
I
tripping
don't think
on who's
he
in the
felt
House,
he
who's in
had
the Senate,
any
who's
real
this, who's that,
ability
who's this, who's
to
that.
get control
because
of this
shit
situation.
matters, nigga.
That this was
This
a
shit
whirlwind
matters,
that he
bruh.
was
And
being
it's-
pulled into,
I
and
think
all
it's
members of the
crazy
House and Senate
that
had been pulled into
Biden
in ways that he
supporters
found
ain't out there,
unexpected,
too.
even though he is the
Everybody
leader
should be
of the House
fucking out
Republican
there.
Conference
Why
and a
is
very
it
close
only
and
Trump
stalwart ally, as
supporters
we've
out
said,
there?
of President
This
Trump.
shit is important,
And
nigga,
very
because
familiar
at
with
the end of
Mark
this
Meadows,
day
the current
is
White
we
House
know
Chief
who the
of Staff,
president is.
and the entire conversation within the Trumpian
Come on,
world,
nigga.
which he is a regular part of. I detected in his voice,
That's the
I
problem,
want this to
bruh.
stop,
We're
and I'm
all-
not sure
a lot of
it
people
can
are not
or
informed
I
on
can
what the fuck is actually going
stop.
on.
I don't know if you heard the same
And
thing, but
it's
I,
like-
as I've been listening
I
to it in
did.
my
You gotta
head,
figure it
I
out,
heard
bro.
it.
You gotta
I did.
get your shit
I
together,
detected
bro.
that
You
same
gotta get
sense of not
together.
only sort of
You
a sense
gotta
of
fucking not
sadness,
follow niggas
but a
like
sense
this
of
guy
disbelief that it had
who's
reached
fucking talking about
this
the whole
moment.
fucking nonsense.
But
And you gotta
President-elect
actually
Biden
read
said
for
the words of a
yourself.
president matter. No matter how great or how
Because
bad,
Trump held a rally
they can
today.
inspire or
No,
they can
he
incite.
told the people
And today they
to come
incited.
there.
And they
There.
incited the crowd and the mob that
He
is at
told
the
them to
United
come
States
there
Capitol
because
today.
this is the
They were
vote.
incited
This
by
is the
Rudy
vote that
Giuliani,
matters.
who
The
earlier in
Capitol
the
building.
day
The Capitol
said,
building
"Let this
today
be
is
trial
where they
by
had
combat." And
the
to this group
sacred
of
vote. The
fervent
electorates
supporters of the
are
President
all
of the
in that
United
building,
States,
bro.
they took those words
That's what I'm
and they
saying.
used them
So
not only as a
why
rallying
wouldn't
cry, but as marching
Biden
orders.
supporters be there
and thus
too?
have marched
Like,
to
nigga,
the front
we
steps
need
of the
this.
Capitol,
Y'all
the back
capping.
steps of the
Come
Capitol,
on.
inside
That's
the Capitol,
people being
into the
misinformed and not
floor
knowing.
of
Like,
where
duh.
the most
So
important
why
debates
wouldn't
of our
anyone
nation
else
take
show up?
place and
That's
into
what
the
I'm saying.
Speaker of
That's
the
the whole
House's
point of making
office. They are now standing on the
These gotta
very
get
steps
together.
and on the podium
Gotta get
where
together.
President-elect Joe Biden will be sworn into office 2
But
weeks
the
ago.
whole
No matter
shit is
what
crazy, though.
happens,
Like, I can't
Congress
believe that.
will fulfill
They even made it inside
its
that
ultimate
building. They
duty
let
as this
these people
final
make
step
it in
in
the
just
building.
doing what is a perfunctory matter and counting these
I gotta find- hold
electoral
on, I gotta find another
votes.
video.
But what we're
Yeah,
facing now is really a question of leadership.
I've been watching so many
as
videos, so many
politicians
lives,
who, as their profession, use their words to encourage support and action, are now unable to pull back what they have created. And those lawmakers who serve on Capitol Hill, who regularly incite through rhetoric different types of passions, have abandoned.
He could either be like, hold on,
citadel of democracy in the U.S. Capitol. They're no longer there. One of the first to leave was the Vice President of the United States.
Well, we don't know whether they've entirely left the Capitol complex itself. In fact, in speaking with some lawmakers, members of the Senate are still in and around Capitol Hill itself, but they are
meaning in the office buildings that are right near the.
It's believed that at least members of Congress are still in that proximity. As we near sunset, as you said, about 5:10 tonight, 5:01.
But they already said that he's going to say some pre-recorded
15 minutes or so. Reminder that there's a curfew here in Washington, D.C. starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Metro bus and Metro rail service is being ended earlier this evening by 8 p.m. Eastern. Our transportation unit passes along that flight attendants who stay in downtown Washington hotels are being cleared out of those downtown hotels by their airlines as a precaution and told to stay closer to the airports where they're supposed to fly out.
Y'all can't see what I'm looking at. I keep looking up at the screen.
Potential risk tonight in this city as this continues. And as we've seen, there's an increased level of law enforcement there from Washington, D.C., from the National Guard, both of the District of Columbia and Virginia, from Maryland. And we don't know when and how exactly this resolves itself.
And as we talk about our members of Congress, I want to bring in a United States Senator, Senator Tammy Duckworth, a retired Army National Guard Lieutenant Colonel, helicopter pilot, now a distinguished member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator Duckworth, thank you for joining us. I know that in all that you have witnessed in your life, that this is unlike anything you've ever seen.
It is unlike anything I've ever seen on domestic soil, that is for sure. You know, I spent my entire adult life defending our Constitution and all enemies, foreign and domestic. It never, ever occurred to me in a million years that that domestic threat would occur on the steps of the U.S. Capitol after being incited by the President of the United States.
At the end of the day,
this is a shameful day, but I will not be deterred from doing my job and certifying these electoral college ballots.
I feel like both sides.
What are you calling on your colleagues to do in terms of counting those electoral votes?
And the fact that it's only one side out there, I think it's even crazier.
With the proceedings. We are all now located in a safe location in the Capitol. They have collected us from
and what's crazy is they're showing the inside of the Capitol, like all the security rooms, the rooms where the feds behind that ready to blast niggas and pop out. Bro, the shit is crazy to me how people are even, like, we're seeing this. We're seeing this live. Every other country is seeing this live too. So we got North Korea, South Korea, Russia, all these people watching us fold right now, bro.
Electoral college ballots and bring them with her.
This is crazy.
To dislocate, be able to proceed as long as Mitch McConnell calls us back into session.
But it's not a lot of people
there,
though, which is even
an important
crazier.
piece of news, Senator Duckworth. The electoral votes are secure. So we're in a secure place there in the United States Capitol. And what is your understanding from leadership about? So your understanding is everybody wants to get this done tonight.
The crazy thing is the vote wasn't even going to finish tonight or today because they said at least 6 states were projected to object or get objected. With each, 6 states at a 2-hour debate, that's 12 hours. So that it wasn't even going to finish today. That's the crazy part.
Approach some of my Republican colleagues and try to encourage them to agree.
That was not even happening. They say everyone's in an undisclosed location,
reconvening the Senate,
allegedly finishing it. But Pence is supposed to be there overseeing this. And are you just
secure with Democratic senators and the Republican senators are secure in a different location?
No, we are all together in one big room,
crazy.
Including staff
What's crazy though is
what they're doing
the
right
video.
Now
I seen the video of the girl get shot. They shot her through the window.
Senators' names and finding those who were not on the floor and bringing those senators. They're sending out, for example,
y'all just tuning in. I'm looking up because my fucking my TV is up here, so the news is up.
And proceed on the train
First of all, they said at the beginning they couldn't even tell who was the protesters because some of these niggas came just showing up like the police. They is the police!
And just a little while ago, a team of Capitol Police came and retrieved me and brought me to the central location where the other senators are. And they're proceeding to do that with all of the remaining senators and staff members who are scattered about the Capitol who didn't happen to be on the floor when the race occurred.
Are all of you able to see what's happening outside the Capitol, what we're broadcasting right now?
I don't even know, bro. I'm gonna keep on
yes, we have a couple of channels up, and we have 3 big televisions that are playing the news right now.
I'm gonna break my earphones by the end of the day.
Senator Duckworth, what we see, of course, is, as you know, sunset in just about 10 minutes from now. We see a number of Metro D.C. police. We've been told that additional National Guard have been approved by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of the Army, that Maryland and Virginia are also willing to assist. Do you have any understanding to the senators with you about how they're going to...
What's MBS talking about? NBC.
Of the U.S. Capitol and has requested the assistance of law enforcement partners through a previously in place mutual aid agreement. As you heard from the mayor, a 6 p.m. curfew has been put in place tonight.
Yeah, so the curfew's at 6.
January 7th.
That's like
we are advising everyone
It's about to be 2
everyone
o'clock.
that is not engaged in essential activity to get off the streets and adhere to the curfew.
When it was Black Lives
If you are
Matter
found to be in violation of the curfew,
hit,
police will be
niggas get
required
hit with
to
the
take
fucking
action.
rubber bullets and smoke.
Again, I want to reiterate and make it clear,
So,
please abide by the curfew
I
that the
wanna
mayor
see
has
what
set in
happens.
place, or people will be subject to arrest. Lastly,
They're saying it.
I know that many of you are familiar with the Metropolitan Police Department.
They are
Understand
saying
that
it.
there is no better agency in the country to handle First Amendment events.
Basically, I'm just
they
here
happen on a
to
regular
make sure all
basis
this
here
shit
in our
is
city.
fair.
However,
Niggas better be playing
today's
fair.
events were not
Niggas better be
representation
playing fair.
of peaceful
Especially
protests.
if I
Today,
am
what we
sitting here
witnessed
and I
was
speak on
unlawful,
both sides
riotous behavior.
because
And
I
people that
expect
come to our
everything to be
city
fair.
engaged in
I
unlawful
need this to be
behavior
played
will
out
be held
fair.
accountable. We can take
Damn
any
it.
questions
I wanna
that
see
you may
niggas get
have after the
smoked
secretary has a chance to
and
speak.
fucking sandbagged because I seen niggas
Thank
next
you,
to
Mayor
me at the
Bowser,
Black Lives
Chief
Matter
Conkey.
protests getting smoked
At around 3 o'clock this
So at
afternoon,
the
we
White Lives
mobilized
Matter,
the
this
DC
ain't White
National
Lives Matter.
Guard,
This is
100%
actually
strength.
free
We have
Donald Trump.
1,100 personnel that are convening
Protest.
to the Armory as we speak.
I want to see niggas
to
get
support
hit,
Metro PD
tased, and all that shit.
reestablishing
Same way I saw it.
the
Just so I
safety,
know that it's
and
fair.
the confines of this capital.
That's all.
We
Just
will
so I
also
know
be
that it's
working with other federal
And
law
if it's
enforcement
fair,
entities
then I'll
that
keep
are
preaching what
coming
I'm
here to the
preaching.
Metropolitan Police
If it's
Station
not fair,
to add additional
then-
support and capability as they continue.
But somebody
deliberate
did
planning
already
and looking
get
at how
shot.
the clearing operation will be conducted.
Somebody
Thank
did
you.
get shot. Niggas wasn't getting shot at the Black Lives Matter protest.
How does this work?
Except by other
This phone? Okay.
protesters. So there is that.
Okay.
So let's see what this DC official
Evan?
said. Hold on.
Yeah, hi, Mayor and Chief Conkey. Could you please speak to the confusion surrounding the deployment of the National Guard? We understand that the council put out a statement saying that originally the Department of Defense
We've been listening into a news conference from the mayor of Washington, D.C., and several officials, including the head of the Metropolitan Police Department, and with their plans on how to get this under control. The National Guard in D.C. has been activated, as we just learned. The Metropolitan Police Chief was very clear that what had started as lawful demonstrations quickly escalated as a group of protesters came close to the Capitol.
They capped.
He said that
capped
violent
on the
behavior
news.
toward police
They just
unfolded,
capped on the
including
news.
the firing of the irritants, some
They
kind of
literally
irritants
just
toward
capped on them.
police,
Let me
which
turn
allowed
this
them to
down,
breach
bruh.
the fence and the
If
police
y'all just
line.
saw me
And according to
listening
the
in right
chief
now,
of
bruh,
police, a riot
they
was
said
declared. He said this
they
town
have
is
us-
very used
I'm
to
watching
people
NBC
coming
News
and
right now,
protesting
right?
and
If
exercising their
NBC
First
News
Amendment rights.
just
This was not
tuned
that.
into some
This was a
mayor's
riot,
meeting and the
according
mayor of
to
Washington,
Metropolitan
DC, is
Police, and we're
saying
learning a bit more now
some shit,
about the plans
talking about
to
what's
get
happening.
this under control. It involves
Someone asked,
National
hey,
Guard, it involves
so
FBI, it
can
involves the
you
Metropolitan Police
answer, like,
Department, it
questions
involves
or
the Capitol
speculations
Police.
about the
We've heard
deployment
word
of
of
the
the Virginia National Guard being called in, or at
right
least
now in
requested.
DC.
We'll see if we start to see
The-
some
the-
of
the
that
mayor
personnel.
is saying
Let me turn
no.
to
The
Janet
news
Napolitano
just
for purposes of the
interrupted
discussion here. Former
was, like,
Homeland
dubbed
Security
over
Secretary
and
in the
said,
Obama administration, and Secretary Napolitano.
they deployed.
First of all, just your thoughts. I mean, you aren't near Washington, I don't think,
shit
or
crazy,
not in
bro.
the Capitol. But when you see these images and what has unfolded today, as a former Homeland Security official whose job was to protect the homeland, what do you think?
Oh, it's a dark day for our country. And, you know, when I was Secretary of Homeland Security, we did all kinds of scenario planning for